Ladies and gentlemen, viewers from around the world, movie lovers and cinephiles, welcome once again to another edition of Andy Takes On. And in today's episode, Andy takes on Army of the Dead. All right, so in Army of the Dead, Zack Snyder is Back Snyder. And if, like me, you thought when you heard that he's making another zombie movie that you were going to find a sequel to the highly entertaining Dawn of the Dead, then like me, I'm sorry that you're going to have to let it go, because this movie is not that movie. Or maybe it is, who knows, because between tiger zombies, prego zombies, and robo zombies, Army of the Dead has waded into that dangerous territory where you make a movie simply to set up a sequel. And that seldom goes well. But of course, I'm going to tell you all about that because, as you know, I'm here about the movie. So the story begins as an army unit leaves Las Vegas carrying a highly classified consignment. But these highly trained commandos are no match for driver error, and their trucks quickly go off the rails, releasing the package from its container. Just by the way, what level of lazy was the person who named containers? Like, seriously? And so, it's released from its containers and promptly starts munching on the surrounding soldiers. It's fairly poetic that this moment is where problems start, both for the viewers and for the characters. For the characters, because obviously they've been turned into flesh-eating zombies. And for the viewers, because, well, it's hard to make sense of this reaction.
It really scared me.
And considering that you've just seen your entire battalion get chewed on by what appears to be a supernatural monster. Anyway, through an opening montage, we learn that Patient Zero makes his way to Las Vegas and proceeds to turn the entire city. And the government, in a bid to make sure that what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, cordons off the city with containers. Again, who named these? And then decide that they're going to bomb the city to wipe out the zombie scourge. Skip to Dave Bautista, playing Scott a few days before this nuclear strike on Las Vegas, and he's hired by a Vegas billionaire casino owner to extract $200 million from his safe. While at the same time, Scott has a daughter and she's a volunteer in the quarantine camps that are next to Vegas. And these camps are set up to, well, you live through 2020, so you know how quarantine works. But basically, she works there and she has a problem that she can't help but aggravate already tense situations. First, with the security guards that are working at the camp, and then secondly, with the actual zombies themselves. At any rate, it turns out she hates her father, Scott, because he killed her mother, thereby saving her, because her mother had turned zombie. Maybe it's because instead of shooting her in the head, he took the more personal approach and drove a knife through her skull. A feeling you yourself might wish for the more of this movie that you watch.
As you wish.
Anyway, Scott accepts the job and assembles a team which includes a safecracker, which is fairly odd because, you know, you'd think that the guy who owns the casino has the code to the safe, but I digress. So, safecracker. The rest of the team is made up of muscle, consisting of Maria, who is a warrior turned mechanic, Vanderho, who is a warrior turned assisted living nurse, and the pilot Peters, who was added in post-production, which once you've seen it, you can't unsee, literally every time she's on screen. Guzman, a YouTuber who's so desperate for you to click that subscribe button that he's prepared to kill zombies on screen.
Make sure to like and subscribe.
Instead of YouTubers who want you to click that subscribe button because they post great content. Follow me for more recipes. Things get complicated when Scott's daughter decides that she's going to tag along on the mission because she wants to smuggle somebody out of Vegas, and then they add Officer Douchebag to the team, and it's not because they like him. Human sacrifice. Once we get into Zombieland, that's when the fun and games begin. And by fun, of course, I do mean that we have human sacrifice, political commentary, and backstabbing in an unsurprising twist when Martin, Tanaka's head of security, betrays the Batista bombers. That's what I'm calling them. What do you think? Betrays the Batista bombers and leads to one of their deaths. And this culminates probably in one of the more entertaining action sequences from the movie, and also one of the most half-hearted rescue attempts that I have ever seen on celluloid. Do they make it to the safe? Naturally. Do they then proceed to play a weird game of how to train your zombie? Oddly, yes.
Wait! How precisely do we do the zombie killing?
This is it. Does Tanaka's head of security take the head of the queen zombie, thereby aggravating the alpha and jeopardizing everybody's security? Well, of course he does. So after he performs a zombie C-section, he rides his zombie horse in pursuit of zombie vengeance. And this is where things get interesting.
How precisely do we do the zombie killing?
This is it. In fact, part of the plan includes taking a break from trying to get out of this zombie-infested, nuclear-targeted hotspot of a city so that we can discuss our feelings.
Tonight, we're gonna talk about feelings.
And whilst this riveting dialogue is happening, Kate disappears so that she can rescue her friend, and what then started as a heist movie quickly becomes a rescue operation. And what are we being rescued from? Well, we've got robo-zombies, we've got glow-in-the-dark zombies, we've got peekaboo zombies, we've got gymnastic zombies, and we've got stupid humans. Every man gets left behind, and before you can say it's just Kate, Scott, the alpha, duking it out. Will they win? Will he win? Will he turn them? Will they conquer? Will we care? Probably not, because the writers certainly didn't. Looking at the tones and themes of Army of the Dead, look, it's basically an army of underdeveloped plot threads, which are meant to prepare us for possible zombies in the upcoming sequels. I don't know if those sequels are going to get made, but if they're going to be anything like this, I'm not going to be around to watch them. It's just so convoluted. Now, the characters, to be generous, are less of characters and more of plot devices, many of whom are simply superfluous. Superfluous! That's a word. Look it up. And this is highlighted mostly by the fact that only one of them appears to have anything approaching a character arc, and that's Kate, who in the beginning hates her father because he had to kill a family member, and before you know it, she has to go down the same route. And here's my take. I have absolutely no problem with suspension of disbelief. In fact, there's very few things that I enjoy more than a compelling story which is told in such a way that it introduces an unexpectedly surprising new world, and you're introduced to compelling characters who are doing interesting things and whose success or failure you're emotionally invested in. Army of the Dead is simply not that movie. But before I skewer it, let me tell you some of the things that I did enjoy. There were some bits of dialogue in there that were quite amusing. Probably they were made more funny by the fact of how much the characters leaned into delivering these absolutely ridiculous lines.
Please, I have a mother. I love her, please.
Well, everyone has a mom. One more step, and I'll blow her head off. Well, more off.
The opening montage was fun as well because of the choice to juxtapose a scene where everybody is getting attacked by zombies with background music of Viva Las Vegas. It really evokes a sense of, this should be interesting. But these few positives are massively outweighed by the many or the plethora of negatives that are present in this movie. Probably the chief among these is the blurred camera work. I don't know if they failed to graft in Tig Notaro's scenes well and then decided, oh, well, let's just blur out all the background so that you can't tell which ones were done in post. But whatever the reason, it's a jarring visual effect that pulls you out of the action so that no matter how hard you try, you can never fully suspend disbelief. As though this wasn't made hard enough by the variety of really implausible situations that this movie presents. For example, a highly trained military convoy without the basic driving skills to be able to pay attention to headlights that are glaring in your face, not monitoring the most suspicious person in your crew.
Oh my God, I got you twice. I got you twice.
The cavalry parachuting into zombie-infested Vegas? What's that about? Or reacting with a prank when you're faced with a seemingly supernatural threat. Zack Snyder needs to put some respect on the audience name.
Put some respect on my name.
Most of the dialogue was unbelievable and seemed to be written without a basic understanding of how civilians or military or, humans actually interact. I've got examples.
Easy peasy, Japanesey.
It's lemon squeezy now.
I think it's fine if he's Japanese.
As you wish. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy.
You serious?
But the cardinal sin of Army of the Dead is the number of unanswered questions that it presents. Like, how do the dead procreate? Are they alien or robot in origin? Are these guys faster than moving bullets? And finally, if zombieism is transmitted by biting, then who was the freaky weirdo who bit the tiger?
Tiger? Tiger? Okay. Tiger?
It's a lot of build-up with very little payoff. I'm a comedian, so I know you have to set up a joke, but eventually you've got to give the audience the punchline. But here, it's all set up, all right? And most of its 2.5 hour long, over-long runtime fails to deliver on the good movie that it teases. With the out-of-focus camera work, it really is more of a chore to watch, and it really is hard to enjoy Army of the Dead. And for that reason, I give it 2 4.5 out of 5 stars. And those are my takeouts from Andy Takes on Army of the Dead, and I am taking off. I will see you next time.